You feel something, but almost immediately you question it. Was that too much? Too sensitive? Too dramatic? So instead of trusting what you felt, you start looking around for confirmation. And slowly, your own emotions begin to feel unreliable. But what if the problem isn't your feelings? It's what you've been taught to do with them. You don't ignore your feelings. You notice them. You feel them strongly sometimes. But the moment they appear, a second voice shows up. It asks, is this valid? Am I overreacting? What would someone else think about this? So instead of responding naturally, you pause, you analyze, you compare, you edit. You might feel hurt, but you wait to see if someone else agrees before accepting it. You might feel excited, but you downplay it in case it seems too much. Even small moments become confusing. Someone replies late, and you feel a shift inside. But instead of trusting it, you tell yourself, it's probably nothing. So you override it. And over time, this creates a strange pattern. You're always feeling, but never fully believing. You start to rely on other people's reactions to tell you how you should feel. And slowly, your inner voice gets quieter, not because it's gone, but because you stopped trusting it. And the deeper question begins to form. Why does your own emotional signal feel less reliable than everyone else's? This isn't because your emotions are wrong. It's because your brain learned that your emotions weren't enough on their own. At some point, you adapted. Maybe your feelings were dismissed. Maybe they were corrected. Maybe they were ignored unless they matched someone else's view. So your brain made an adjustment. Instead of trusting internal signals, it started scanning externally, not to betray you, but to protect you. Because if your feelings led to conflict, rejection, or confusion, your brain decided it was safer to double-check. So this isn't weakness, it's calibration. Your brain didn't stop feeling, it just added a filter. But that filter might be the very thing creating the confusion you're trying to escape. Your brain runs on prediction. It constantly tries to answer one question: is this safe or not? And emotions are part of that system. They're not random, they're signals, but here's where it gets complicated. There are two systems working at the same time. One is internal, your emotional response. The other is external, your social evaluation system. When these two systems align, you feel clear, but when they don't, you feel uncertain. So your brain resolves this conflict by prioritizing the system it trusts more. And if you've learned to trust external feedback more than internal signals, your brain will override your feelings. Not because they're wrong, but because they're unsupported. Think of it like this. Your emotions are like a compass, but your environment is like a map. If the compass and the map don't match, you'll assume the compass is broken, even if it's not. So instead of following what you feel, you start adjusting it, editing it, rewriting it in real time to fit what seems acceptable. And over time, this creates a gap between what you feel and what you allow yourself to believe. And that gap is where doubt lives. But here's the part most people miss. The more you override your emotions, the weaker they feel. Not because they're fading, but because you've trained your brain to not rely on them. So the question becomes, can you rebuild that trust? 1. Name the feeling before explaining it. What to do? When you feel something, pause and name it in simple terms. Not why, just what. Why it works. Labeling emotions activates the brain's regulation systems and separates raw feeling from overthinking. Example, instead of "I shouldn't feel this way," you say, "I feel uneasy right now." 2. Delay external validation. What to do? Wait before asking someone else if your feeling makes sense. Why it works. This reduces dependency on external feedback and strengthens your internal evaluation system. Example, you feel hurt after a conversation. Instead of texting a friend immediately, you sit with it first, just for a few minutes. 3. Separate feeling from reaction. What to do? Allow yourself to feel something without immediately acting on it. Why it works. This helps your brain learn that emotions are signals, not commands. Example, you feel ignored. Instead of reacting or suppressing it, you acknowledge it internally first. 4. Track emotional patterns, not single moments. What to do? Look at recurring feelings over time, not isolated events. Why it works. Your brain is better at recognizing patterns than single data points. Patterns are more reliable signals. Example, if you repeatedly feel drained around someone, that matters more than one good interaction. 5. Give your feelings low-stakes expression. What to do? Express your thoughts in small, safe ways. Why it works. Gradual expression rebuilds trust without overwhelming your system. Example, instead of sharing everything, you say one honest sentence in a conversation. Just one. There's a simple way to understand all of this. Your feelings are not instructions. They are data. But you've been treating them like something that needs permission to exist. So your brain learned to wait, to check, to confirm before allowing you to trust what you already felt. But the goal isn't to blindly follow every emotion. It's to rebuild your relationship with them, to see them as signals worth noticing, not problems to solve immediately. Because when you stop arguing with your feelings, you start understanding them. And that's where clarity begins. You don't need to trust every feeling instantly. That's not the point. The point is to stop assuming they're wrong before you even listen. Because your emotions aren't trying to confuse you, they're trying to communicate. But if every signal gets questioned, the message never fully arrives. So maybe the shift is small, not full trust, just a little less doubt. And over time, that might be enough to hear yourself again.